So Safari is one of my most used applications probably on my iPhone of all time. So I want to go ahead and break down some of my favorite tips and tricks that you should definitely check out on your specific iPhone, for at least Safari, the web browser. Now there's two different ways to interact with these. You can go through your settings application. There's a lot of settings within Safari there, but there's also a ton within the stock Safari application. So the first thing I want to go and tell you is maneuvering through, you have to be on iOS 15 to kind of utilize some of these features, so keep that in mind. But since iOS 16 is out, I'm sure a lot of people are kind of out and about now. Now, one thing I want to tell you is if you're actually within Safari and you scroll all the way down of a page, which you can always do if you want to jump back up straight up to a page, you don't have to scroll through all the way like this. What you can do instead is just tap the top of your Safari browser or just tap the top in the status bar right there, and it'll automatically bring you up. And that's not only for Safari. That is basically within any application. You can also jump up here, and that's another cool thing. That was something that kind of just remember now. It's not even on my list. Now, basically, some of the biggest things within Safari that you can interact with are by utilizing this specific tab bar at the bottom. Now, you may have the tab bar at the top, but you can actually move this whether you want it at the top or the bottom by clicking basically on the two double A's right here. So go and clicking here, and you can either show the top address bar or the bottom one. If you click top, you'll see it'll basically change from the bottom to the top, and I'm actually not used to this at all anymore. I actually prefer it at the bottom, and the reason for that is because you can use the gestures with it, and there's a lot of cool features with that. Bring this back to the bottom just like that. Now, another thing you can do that is really, really cool with this specific Safari browser is that you can actually hide this toolbar. So some of you may know this, but like as you scroll through within Safari, you'll see that it'll go up and down, up and down, up and down, depending on the way you scroll. That can actually be kind of annoying. But what you can do is if you're reading a long article or if you don't need this toolbar for a while, what you can do is you can just go ahead and click on the two A's right here, and what you can do is just hide toolbar. And this specific option right here will go and just hide it. And now look, if I go and scroll through, and well, I kind of messed up right there, but essentially what's going to happen is I can go ahead and scroll through and it's not going to come back up. So if I go and just keep scrolling, it's not going to randomly come back up like it used to. Now, if I go and swipe back and then I do it, then obviously it's going to come back up. Also, if you hide it and if you want to go and get access to it again, you can also just tap on it and it'll go ahead and open up. So that's another really cool thing. If you're reading a lot of like long articles or whatever, you have that type of ability now, which is super cool. That is another awesome thing that I actually do like a lot. Now, also within that little tab bar, if you go and click those two A's again, this privacy report option is another really cool thing. So if you go and click on it, what's going to basically tell you, it's going to give you a quick little breakdown of essentially what this website is, and it's essentially its privacy report on this page. And I think that's a really cool thing that Apple has added in here. It's been here for a little bit of time now. So it says Safari prevents trackers from following you across the websites, and it shows you how many trackers it prevented, how many websites that contacted the trackers, and there's a ton of other things here. I mean, you can see all this information and websites you should probably avoid. I like down detector, so it's kind of interesting that's that high. But essentially, you add that type of capability here. So if you want to get a little bit more information of the privacy of your iPhone, you can always go down and check that out as well, which is really cool. On top of that, we actually do have, as most of us may know now, we have plugins within Safari. So this is probably one of my favorite things within Safari right now, and you can go and access it. You should be able to access it here. I don't know why it's missing, but you can also make your way over to your settings portion of the Safari browser. So you can just go into settings here, you can scroll down into Safari right here, and you'll be able to see a bunch of different things within your specific browser that you can actually go ahead and pretty much edit for the most part. Now within here, you can always edit Siri and search. You can change your search engine if you want to. That's something that's been really cool to some people. You can also change your tab. So if you want your tab at the top or the bottom, you can go and figure it out here. But also this is a landscape tab bar. If you don't want the tab bar in landscape, you can always, just take it off right there. And that's another thing you can do. But the main thing I want to go ahead and show you is this close tabs. So sometimes you may just have to, you may go through your internet browser all the time, and you may see that basically you have a bunch of tabs open. And maybe, you know the way of basically deleting them all the time. You can usually just go through, hold down a specific one. You can just go ahead and close other tabs too, and you can close out all your other tabs as well, except this one. There's a lot of cool things you can kind of do there, but the issue is you have to manually do it all the time. Well, if you want to automatically have your tabs closed in the background, what you can do is you can have them after one day, after 1 week, or after 1 month, basically just close out all the tabs in the background. And that is a really cool feature and option that you have. So that is basically one thing I would probably recommend you to check out as well. So pretty much just go through, essentially enable these specific features. After 1 week, you can close your tabs, after 1 day, and you don't have to go through and basically close your tabs all the time. And basically, you can go ahead and have all your tabs closed out in the background without you having to worry about it, which I think is actually really cool. Now, another thing that I've kind of demonstrated for a long, long time now, since iOS 15 came out, is the gestures within Safari. So if you have your tab bar at the bottom like this, what you can always do is, instead of relying too much on, just basically just clicking buttons all the time, you can always use gestures. So you can go ahead and basically grab your search bar at the bottom, and you can swipe up to get into your basically all the tabs that you have. But you can also create new tabs by very similar kind of to your normal system gestures, is by swiping to the side, and you can pull up your new tab bar here, and you can just go ahead and continue to add new tabs going this way. You can also swipe between your pages. So if you want to go back to your previous page, you can just click here and jump straight to your previous one. You can go to your new one here, and you can also keep just adding new tabs. Now it stops you from continuing just like adding empty tabs, so you have to keep populating them. But that's another cool thing. If you want to see all your searches right here, or all your tabs here, you can just go through here, and that's another awesome thing that I typically do all the time. As always, if you want to close out all your tabs as well, except for one page, you can just go through here and just click on a page like that. Now, another awesome thing that I love so much within Safari, and I think this is a really cool thing, is the built-in translator within this specific application. So essentially what this does is it will translate what it can to a multitude of different languages. There's actually tons of different languages that are supported. So what you can do here is you can go and click on the two A's right here, and you will see a little option that says translate to and then a language. In this case, it says translate to Spanish for me. So what I can do is I can go and click translate to Spanish. I guess I have to enable translation, so let's go and enable that. And watch what happens. It's going to go ahead and pretty much translate the whole entire thing for me. So now if I go and scroll through, you'll see it'll translate what it can. It doesn't translate I think it translates pretty much everything, to be honest, on a lot of web pages. But depending on the web page, it may not do it all the time, so keep that in mind. You can also edit these settings by clicking on that little tab bar at the bottom again, and you can click, whatever says, view original. You can go and hold this down. You can go and click view original again, and you can swipe between the actual, language that it was supposed to be, and then this one, which I think is a really cool thing that they've added here. So that is another really big thing. You can also change the font of your specific, web page as well. So this option right here will go ahead and allow you to zoom into a page a little bit more, or zoom out of a page. I usually do this when I'm on an internet browser in the first place. And this kind of mimics somewhat of a desktop experience, like what you'd get on a desktop. Some people do actually prefer having it zoomed out more than zoomed in. So you can also see you can zoom in a lot if you want to, but you can also zoom out of a page as well. And this is completely different. This is a completely different zooming in, zooming out experience, rather than going like this. If you go if you zoom in, zoom out on your desktop, it's a little different. But if you're actually trying to zoom in and zoom out of a page, well, this is basically how you can do it. And some people prefer this method. You can see how much more information you're getting on this one rather than this one that's zoomed in, normally. So those are pretty much my favorite tricks and tips within Safari. I use that application a lot, and I think it's one of the best apps Apple's made. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.